everyone. Okay. My research is reinterpreting public needs, comparative analysis of contemporary Chinese and Western public management philosophies.
Hold on.
Next one.
Hold on, Nampi.
Okay.
Got to bring up my note.
Oh. 你的脚哦。
OK， 那
刚开始。Okay. Next one. Okay.
Again, like can I look at that?
Okay.
Yeah.
My research is reinterpreting public comparative analysis of contemporary Chinese and Western public management philosophies. Okay, next one. This is my contents. Okay, next one. Research background. In the contemporary thesis, characterized by accelerated globalization, cultural diversity, and technological innovation, the concept of public needs has become more complex and significant. Public needs not only represents the sharing of public resources, social opinions, and qualitative interest, but also service and core principle of public management and public marketing. With the advent of globalization and the digital age, public needs face unprecedented chances and opportunities, requiring re-examination and reinterpretation of this anti-democratic concept to address increasingly complex social needs and global insights. This study aims to explore how to reinterpret public needs through a comparative analysis of contemporary Chinese and Western public management philosophies. The first is on revealing the similarities and the difference between Chinese and Western public management concepts, particularly in terms of their practice and theories from 1978 to the present in the Earth of Cultures traditions.
I think the next slide
No, still at the same slide. The last two lines.
the last two lines, yeah. Right.
I think we should.
Article centers power, public property, and public service. Chinese public management philosophy shaped by its long next page. Cultural heritage has grown. Okay. Has grown from the unique governance model than emphasizes social harmony, collectives, and public interests. Meanwhile, Western public management philosophy based on democracy, market economy, and public participation enhances the black between individual rights and social affinity. This study is used the inductive analysis model to delve into the composition, conflict, and the integration of these finishes in the context of globalization will not only focus on the theoretical difference and practical manifestations of these two philosophies, but also as their role in enhancing public governance, different effectiveness and social different development, particularly under the impetus of globalization, we will explore how to redefine and publish from a multicultural perspective to improve public management practices and enhance the quickly and access of public service. Through this comparative analysis, we hope to provide a new theoretical framework for academy and practical implementations for public marks, contributing to the creation of a more inclusive. That's public segment. In the year of globalization and information knowledge, public management faces increasingly complex Chinese and West countries with their unique country traditions and institutional backgrounds. You compete study different public management philosophies. This division not only influence their repetitive governance approach but also garners significant attention from academia and practitioners globally. To reinterpret the concept of public and equal the difference and commonalities in cultural traditions. It's called standards, public policies, and services between modern Chinese and West public management finishes. This study aims to conduct a comparative analysis. It seeks to examine their ontological characteristics and context. The research will first analyze the ontological components of Chinese public management philosophy. Exploring its unique process in cultural in traditions, in school studies, public publications, and service. Subsequently, it will look to the ontological features and of Asian past public management philosophy. Discovering is through the core foundations in democracy, mark income mix, and public passion. That's all. Moreover, the study will delve into the difference and similarities between these two philosophies, assessing their strengths and weaknesses and interpreting their implications for cultural traditions. Ethical study studies public publics and services. And ultimately, the research will examine the currents and conflicts between China and West in contemporary society from 1978 to the present, as well as an innovative courageous points and political macho influence between these philosophies in creating aspects. Through this exercise, they study aims to problem in into cause cultural public management, thorough and price, thereby hacking the inefficient use of public governments and contributing to sustainable global development. That's one. This is my research questions. One, what's the outrage the components of Chinese public management philosophies? Two, what's the outrage the public components of West public management philosophy? Three, what are the differences and similarities between the two public management philosophies? Three questions, there are three. One, what are their strengths and weaknesses? Two, what are the interpretations of two public management philosophies with the relationship? Three, spectacle, what are their interpretations with regard to the dominance of government in public management, the asymmetrical relationship between government and non-government, and the division of public management from public interests. Four, what are the contributions of conflicts between China and the West and their manifestations in contemporary 1978 to recent year society? Five, what are the convergence points between the two philosophies? Okay, nice. Research objective. The better improve the outrage of Chinese and Western public management philosophies, we refine the risk objective as follows. One, scientists clearly acknowledge the fundamental complex and cultural and ethical characteristics of Chinese and Western public management philosophies to examine the specific impact of these philosophies on public policies, public services, and the relationship between government and non-government entities. Three, compare the strengths and weaknesses of these philosophies in social governance and employ their implementations and government dominance. The inter-child relationship between government and non-government entities and the division of public management from public interests. And for analysis this past and conflicts between Chinese and Western public management philosophies since 1978, reading the specific manifestations and the course, while industry and analysis the chronologies points between Chinese and Western public management philosophies, reading the theoretical structure and practical guidance from innovations in modern public management theory. Next one. This is my literature review. Okay, the complexities understand and complete the development, trends and key characteristics of Chinese and Western public management philosophies over the past 14 years. The study will inductive collect and analyze theory in colleges of literature, the theoretical development of public management philosophies, the application and impact of cultural traditions and source and in public management, public employee, publicly fermentation and service provision, the changes of public management in the context of globalization and informationization and comparative analysis, minds, models, and theories. These natural analyses we will private in depth theoretical and empirical subject for the research. Next one. Okay. My literature review have found it. One. Theoretical development of the philosophy of public management impressed the promotion of various theoretical schools of thought, the perspective of socialists and their impact on the rest of public management. Through cultural traditions and cultural equal content and the price of public sales and public marketing in different cultural contexts. That's one. Public and public service. The important points of public party market the effect of public implementation and public service in China and the West. For public management, changes in the context of urbanization and information equal the common and unique trans-faking public management in China and the West in the context of globalization and information age. That's one. Intuitive and comparative analysis summarizes the intuition on comparative and analytical maths and strategies with practical focus on inductive research models for the field of public management. Okay, come to next one. Total review. Based on the literature, we understand the similarities and differences between Chinese and Western public management philosophies to add to their unique cultural traits and interests backgrounds. China and Western countries exhibit distinct public management philosophies, which not only influence governance the style but also drain government attention through inductive sorting and comparative analysis. This study will delve into ontological characteristics and core concepts of China and Western public management philosophies, examining their differences and similarities in cultural traditions, ethical standards, publics and public service. And declining the risk will influence the contamination and conflicts between the two in the comparing socially and investigate their convergence, response, and mutual influences. Through this analysis, the study aims to provide valuable insights into the skill and practice of cross-cultural public management, enhancing the effectiveness of public governance and promoting sustainable development in the global society. That's why. This is my conceptual framework. 这个我能不能让他读？他听不懂我说的是啥。
我真的不能救活。
啊？
如果你觉得不能救活。
This conceptual framework essentials demonstrates the complex relationship. Yeah. And mechanisms between country traditions, ethos, and morality, public power, and public service in the field of public management. Its component is interconnected and contributes to our understanding and application of philosophies of public management in different cultural contexts. The following are specific cultural traditions which serve as the basis for the construction of the philosophy of public management, as provide the basis for the formation of essence and morality, marking us and markedly deeply rooted in the cultural context. This is genuineness, ethical standards, and moral values that shape social perception of the role of government and public management. Ethical standards are deeply rooted in the cultural traditions that determine the implementation of public policies. Thereby, establishing standards of public governance that are seen as acceptable or desirable. Public policy is involves the implementation of unsure and the establishment of risk and relations for the implementation of public service. It's true for achieving the objective of public management. The effectiveness of power implementation is directly related to public policy making. Power must involve the relationship and here between government entities and the public, affecting the decision making progress and the implementation of the effectiveness of public service is directly influenced by public property and power. Public property provides the formal work and guarding price of full service delivery willpower acts, the implementation and quickly of service covers the degree of satisfaction with the public service is determined by the quality of the implementation of power and soundness of public formulation. It can be seen that public service in the most direct form of application in public management. According to the above framework diagram illustration controls trade stations several as a starting point to integrate infinite public needs by influencing ends and moral. This is because issues plays a guiding role in the formulation of policies. Through the implementation of public duty affects the form and the content of power implementation and the public service. Meanwhile, power plays a key role in public management and its exercise affects the quickly and fairness of public service. Then public service is also a direct manifestation of the link between public party and power, reflecting the effectiveness of governance and the degree of satisfaction of social needs. Thus, the legitimacy and the morality of public management are released. The ultimate effect of the body reflects the requisitions and the implications of control traditions.
蓝片 What's your research methodology?
挑选接下来
Research methodology?
next
方法
page
论。
Oh,
Next,
oh.
What's your research methodology?
okay.
Yeah.
OK，想一下了15 OK 15啊 OK this is the study employs inductive research strategies to compare study and analyze the action of Chinese and Western public management philosophies over the past 4 decades, focusing particularly on their development in cultural traditions, in standards, public permanent and public service. First, we will cynical collect and orange relevant either to covering academic draw
You can go
artists.
to the next page now.
Ah.
Okay. Go to the next page.
Okay, sorry, and then the social analysis process. We will compare and contrast the formation and the development of these philosophies, implement their representations to various changes in the context of globalization and
Alright, can
information.
go to the next page.
Okay, no, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, okay, thank you.
我刚才那个是解释一下那个概念框架，可是我读的，哎呀，我能不能放一个 AI 呢？AI 对的。
You don't need to.
How do we do this? Yeah. Okay, the most fundamental improvement that you will need to make is in the communication, right? The language communication. This cannot get through without the improvement in your language communication, both reading and listening. So the assessor, the examiners will be speaking with you, and you will need to communicate with them, right? And they need to understand you. So Lampin, you must come to a point that you can speak in a way that they can understand, and when they conversate, they communicate with you, you can communicate back, right? So this is a important milestone, right? Very important milestone. So this is no longer just about the research. It's also about that part of the battle that you must win. It's a battle that you can lose because of that, right? No matter how good your research is, but you lose that battle, you can easily lose, your viva and your proposal defense, yeah, Lambin. So, what you want to, what's your strategy to improve your, the English communication, Lambin? So, there's no AI to this; it's you, right? So, what are you going to do? You will need to address this important matter, Lambin. If it's in Chinese, there's no problem. But it's in the English, then there's challenge. Then other things might come into question. People might think that you didn't do your work, somebody else do your work, and you didn't do the writing, somebody else is doing the writing, and that would be very risky and problematic to your proposal as well as your viva. So you won't be able to present yet for proposal with this communication. Yeah, you want to improve that Lambit. So you got to do it every day or something. You got to speak with somebody in English and improve in your English. I mean, there is no two ways about it. Yeah, you must do that. Muhtadi has done it. I think you can do it too. So you must spend time every day to do this, and every day to read. And there's some tricks around it, but the tricks doesn't really help. And the tricks is about writing, and then you use a pointer, things like that. You need to use pointer, the cursor, the pointer, right, to point to which one you're reading. And the other one is to listen to Google, reading it and to pronounce it exactly like what you hear. Right? So when you must be able to pronounce the word the way it is supposed to be pronounced, right? So you want to practice it many times. I'm not talking about 5 times. I'm not talking about 50 times. I'm talking about 500 times. 500 times. So you take 1 month, you take 500, divide by 1 month. So you get the number of times you got to practice every day. So much so that your becomes very fluent. Right? But there's a trick, by the way, And here we are talking about something more fundamental. The trick might get you past the proposal defense, but for viva it's a different thing, right? It's not even 100%. It's not even It's just a trick. After that, the accessor will ask you a question. You might answer. You might not be able to answer. Then it becomes a problem. But the trick will get you through for your presentation only. So you can go through 500 times, right? Just repeat the same thing until you get it accurate and your friend can understand. Not your Chinese friend, the non-Chinese friend must understand. Because your audience is a non-Chinese, right? Your audience is somebody, I have accent, everyone has accent, right? So we say it in a way according to our accent. So with my accent, a Malaysian can understand my accent, right? A non-Malaysian might not understand my accent, my English accent talking about, right? So likewise, you need to get somebody to be able to understand your English, and you need to repeat this. Take 500 times. Because if you take 500, take 600, let's say 600, so you divide by 30, you'll get what? 20 per day. That's how many times you must practice your presentation, right? So I'm using the archery metaphor. The archery you need to practice about 1,000 times to get it good. So you need to practice that. But this is a closed loop, meaning you can master this, right? You can master your presentation because you repeat it many times, right? That part you can do, and you can point to which one you're reading. That part you can. That's a trick that you can do. Now the other part is to be able to answer when people ask a question. So now that is the trickiest. So there's a listening part, there's an understanding part, comprehension, and the other one is speaking. This is the random part where it's not easy to prepare unless you have the language proficiency. That is the part that that is the challenges in that one for you, Lambin. So you need to think about how you want to improve your listening, able to listen to understand. So listen to understand and be able to speak, not according to script, right? So you do not have script, but you can still answer. Right? Just now I was interviewing one thing. That's why I was talking to you about one thing just now. So now USM and CPR is interviewing people, so to make sure they can answer questions, because you want to make sure that you start at the point that you can go through the supervision process smoothly. Otherwise, without the language proficiency, or you have the language barriers, it's hard to do supervision, it's hard to do improvement. So that is something that you want to work on. Yeah. So at this point you won't be presenting yet until you get that part right. Now let's talk about your research. Let me ask you a question. Why 1968?
1968
感觉
那就差不多。
可能让 AI 再读一下我写的解释。
可以，你先让 AI 播吧。
我先让 AI 说一下为什么是1978吧。
It's open.
Okay, well, you just explain to me in English. Let me see if I can understand your English.
自己说。
Just English.
先
Go ahead.
try. I'm gonna try.
Just do it.
Okay,
Just do it.
okay.
Just do it.
According to research, 为什么啊 from the research contemporary can be understood in the following ways. From the perspective of political turning points, the contemporary popular parade can be viewed as the historical year beginning with a specific political turning point, such as a change of regime in a country or significant political reforms. From the perspective of social phenomena and cultural trends, the contemporary can also be considered as the historical operate starting from a central social phenomenon of control shift, such as the era of globalization and information change, technology, revolution or trends and social structures. Structures. Therefore, the contemporary trade in China as this concept in the article refers to the time from 1978 to the present. During the period, China impact on the reform and opening up public policy. Since then, Chinese society has undergone tremendous change including political system reforms, repeat economic growth, change
Let me
in
ask you this question. There's a what happened in 1978?
改革开放。
It's the year of the policy of reform and open door policy.
Simple answer there. That's the answer I needed, right? That's all I need to answer, not the whole 3 paragraphs you're reading there, right? Just an
Okay.
answer there, right? Right, that's the answer. So this is where I'm talking about, Lambi. You need to understand my question, and you can say, pop, and I can get the answer, right? So this is it, because you have the brains, you are smart, you're intelligent. It's a barrier of language, that's all, right? So you can do this. And one thing good about Chinese, the Chinese are good at repetition, right? That's something since I know that. So if you practice, you can do it, right? And for in Chinese culture, practicing Lian Kung is part of the in their Wenhua, in the whole idea of practice is a Chinese tradition. So you want to practice that, right? Practice it, right? So that your pronunciation becomes clear. But more importantly, you can understand my question, right? Maybe you do not understand my question. It's a simple question. What 1978? I just need to know what happened in 1978. Okay, that you need to explain in this one. So what happened in 1978? You just say, this is what happened in 1978. Therefore, I'm choosing 1978 as the turning point of the a new era, a new phase of public management in China. Yeah, that's what you will need to explain. Doesn't have to be too long. You just explain that, right? Now, the other thing is this. Okay, your research. It looks. Let me look at the data of your research. What data are you going to use for your research? Somewhere in your. Where's your research? I think it's in your literature review. There. Thank you. Well, okay, Hanif got it. Right. There. Firstly, we will systematically collect and organize relevant literature covering academic journal articles, books, conference papers, and other sources to ensure comprehensive coverage. So this is your data. Am I right? This is your data, right? So journal articles, books, conference papers, and other sources. Right. Okay, so this is mainly what we call a library research. You're doing a library research. Okay. This is the other part of your research that needs to be improved, and that's the explaining what data sources are you using, right? since you're doing a okay, let's go to your research question, research objective. All right, research objective. Research question. By the way, research question should have an S. Research objective. There's one. The next one. Yeah. Okay, research objectives. Remember to put it. It's a list. Yeah, and bit not like a paragraph thing. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. Right. Not a list like this. Let's go to the research questions. Research question. So. So you also talk about the impact. Where is the impact? I think it's in your research objective, right? Ontology of Western public, differences, similarities. Okay. I think we've discussed this one before. Especially what are the interpretations with regard to dominance of government in public management, asymmetrical relationship between government and non-government, deviation of public management from public interest. What are the contestation, conflict between the manifestation in contemporary society? What are the conventions with punishment? All right. Can we go to your research objective? I think there's something there in your research objectives that you talk about impact. Yeah. Number 2, examine the specific impact of these philosophies on public policies, public services, and relationship between government and non-government entities. So your number 2 here is about impact of the policies and the relationship of these policies with the government, between government and non-government entities, right? All right. Let's go again to research question, Hani. Okay, what is the right? So the impact question is not in the impact objective is not your research question. Right? So you want to see how the philosophy impact public policy, right? Yeah. Philosophy in Siang, public policy. You want to see that, which is question number 2, which is objective number 2, right? So your research objectives and your research questions are not the same. Hanbin, yeah, Hanbin, go research objective, right? Examine the specific impact of these philosophies on public policies and public services, and the relationship between government and non-government entities. So your research objective is not the same or similar to research questions. I tell you what, you change your research objectives to be in accordance to be corresponding to your research questions, right? So research objectives must correspond to your research questions, and I would remove the idea of impact, because impact is not easy to prove at such a large scale, research. Philosophy on public policy. Which public policy? I mean, basically there's public policy in all the ministries, right? How are you going to look at the impact of the philosophy on all the policies, right? And not just that, public services. So not just public policy, but also public services. That's a lot to do. Public services, when you should include education, health, just about everything else. So and the relationship between government and non-government entities. So that is another level. So redo your research objectives. So to make sure that the research objectives correspond to research question, right? That's another input that you need to have. Okay. So this is my suggestion for you, Lambin, and that is, you might want to choose a particular area of research, or a limited number of spaces. Yeah, maybe you want to look at how the philosophy of the ontology of Chinese public management philosophy in certain areas. So maybe education, maybe health, maybe I don't know, social welfare, you know, and then your research becomes manageable. This is like you open up your roof and letting the arrows to come in from all over, right? You know, it's like open up the roof and then there's all this army, the sword and the arrows are all coming all over from all direction. Right? You cannot defend your research this way. So you want to design research where you can defend and win. To do that, you need to scale it to make it the size that you can manage, right? And then and make sure this is the size that will make sure you can succeed during the viva. So the size cannot be too small, it cannot be too big. This is too large. So we're talking about public policies. Military is also public policy, right? Foreign policy is also public policy. So I mean, all government policies are public policies. So I mean, you cannot be analyzing all the public policies under government. I mean, the most you could do is 1 or 2 or 3 ministries, right? Maybe you can. I mean, one alone is already. Yifeng is only looking at double reduction policy, one policy, right? In all the education policies, she's only looking at one policy. You want to look at all the policies, it's too many, Lambin. So you want to make your research much more focused and to make sure that you can win. Right? So we design the war that you can win, and then this is. So you got to make it smaller, right? The ontology of Chinese public management. I think we discussed this before. This is where you want to have clarity of your data, right? Not opening up more space where they say, well, and we discussed this, right? But the good thing now you have, Chinese civilization is like thousands of years, so you cannot be doing all, from the beginning of Qin Shi Huang, even the before Qin Shi Huang, there's also another dynasty before that, right? You cannot do that. But now it's good that you limit to 1978, right? That's a good thing. So if you want to take, so the 1968 philosophy.
1978.
78. Yeah, 78. Is there a philosophy there? It is, right? 1978 is Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping, right? So he has articulated some, and under him, maybe not him, but also his ministers or whoever else, right? Articulated a new philosophy, maybe, right? Or improved philosophy of China. So you want to take that one. You're not taking anything else. So you're limiting it to only Deng Xiaoping and Deng Xiaoping doctrine or whatever you call it, right? So there might be a Chinese philosophy that predates Deng Xiaoping, right? Before Deng Xiaoping, there's talking about 2,000 years of history. China is a old civilization, just like Iraq, old civilization. So you make it manageable. So the philosophy itself, you take one particular scope of philosophy, you make it manageable. So when people try to attack, say, well, my research is not about Mao Zedong, not about communist philosophy, it's about Deng Xiaoping philosophy. My philosophy is not about You go back to Lao Tzu, Mengzi, Kongzi, you're not going to that. Just Deng Xiaoping. But you can choose which one, and I'm not saying that it must be like that. But if you choose 1978, I think it's under Deng Xiaoping. I think it's the opening of China, right? So the whole idea of it doesn't matter what color is the cat as long as the cat catches the mouse. So that's Deng Xiaoping, right? Many other uh, philosophy and that. So scope that, and then it make it more manageable. The part that is challenging would be the Western public management philosophy, right? So here again, maybe you want to choose one particular scope of public management philosophy, Lanbin. But suppose you choose that you want to look at public policy of education, then you just take that part of Western philosophy, that part of Chinese philosophy. If you take about health, just health, right? And then that becomes more manageable for you to look at, right? If you are looking at military, it's just military. The most you do is two, health and education. That is the most, because there's a lot of things to study there, to research on. Right? It's not small scope. Right? So you do want to do that. I'm not sure. See, the question I have is your data. The data is where, how do you make sure the data is what is it? Is invincible, cannot be attacked. So you said, this is my sample. It is accordance to my research objective, right? But if this sample is not in accordance with the research objective or research question, then you open up space for attack. They say, well, then from 3 you can go to 4, from 4 you can go to 5. We're talking about the scale, right? Because data is where the resubmission can happen. Resubmission meaning they ask you to go back and collect data. That is something we do not want to do. That's why I said this is where we want to design a war that you can win. So the scope of the data, must be something that is solid. You say this is more than sufficient, and you want to have a lot of data, right? And not leaving out other possible data that they will say, oh, you did not study this, you did not include this, you did not, did you analyze the speeches of Deng Xiaoping? Oh, no. And if you look at foreign policy, what's the foreign policy during, it's a famous foreign minister, I forgot his name now. Foreign Minister of China. Zhao Enlai. Zhao Enlai, right. So this is fall under the same period, right? Yeah, I'm not sure. Zhao Enlai is after Deng Xiaoping. It was Mao Zedong, right? Zhao Enlai is Mao Zedong.
Cooperating more.
Yeah, Mao Zedong, yeah. So if you study Deng Xiaoping period and you're looking at education, you need to know who's the education minister or something like that, right? And to look at the philosophy of that ministry, right? I think China will have something like that because China is good with planning. Right? Am I right? Right? Plan. China has a lot of plan, right? Yeah.
10 years plan.
5 years, yeah. Malaysia can follow that kind. Malaysia follow the China and the Russian model of planning. Yeah, the 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever plan, and then midterm review, a 1-year plan, and then we have economic plan, and we have the whatever plan, whatever plan we have, and then we have the blueprint, all that. Right? So, and usually behind the plan, underlying the plan, there's a philosophy behind it. Right? Usually, before they write the plan, right, they have some kind of principles or philosophy or something like that, right? Okay. And the other thing, the speeches are important, right? And like this year, Xi Jinping has some kind of new philosophy about how, about what is it, about development or something. I forgot what is it, right? How China move forward, something like that.
伟大复兴啊，类似的。
Is that that? I forgot what it is. Yeah, and yeah. So, and so the other part, right, Lambin, is for and this is a good benchmark, a good model to follow is the international relations model. What they usually do is they study a period of time. So they study under Deng Xiaoping. So there's a beginning, there's an end. Here you have 1978 until now, like a recent year, right? So from Deng Xiaoping to whoever else, who else you have?
江泽民。
Jiang Zemin, Li Peng, and who else, whatever, all everyone there, right? So maybe you want to just scope only Deng Xiaoping, maybe. But you decide. This is your research. This is not my research. Right? You got to decide. I'm here to just make sure that you win, you succeed in your PhD. That's all I want to do. But it must be your research. It must be your decision, right? So the international relations approach and political science approach is also, well, not political science. International relations have to have that. They say the Deng Xiaoping years of 1978 until when or whatever. Yeah. So you have a period. So then your data will be strong to look at. I'm only studying at this period, right? What else I want to say? And something of this magnitude, right? And for China, I don't know. We might need to have reports, right? Government reports, right? So it's not just. Hannah, can you go back to research methodology, Hannah? You say all this are the articles, books, conference papers, other sources. The other sources is not. No, you don't want to leave it open. Other sources, reports. Yearly reports maybe. The China has yearly report. I think so. Yeah. Yearly report. How about the what they call the assembly, the Chinese assembly, the communist Chinese, the people's. You have the big hall, the parade. Where Xi Jinping and all the representatives. 这么个大会是，大会。You have report too, right? 就那大会。
20大。20th conference for the.
20th big.
I mean, all the people. It's the most important. People from some minority group wear their own cultural thing there, different hats, right? Different hats, different costume, right? That is a very important event, right? And then you actually look and pretend and yes.
And the report is very long, for some hours.
Hours, days, I think maybe.
3 days.
3 days.
But the report is last for some 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
习近平做个报告。
3 or 4 hours.
Huge room, yeah. And then but not as bad as North Korea. North Korea is everyone are crazy. North Korea is that is no longer the premier. It's almost like a god, It's like, oh, like that.
Because the report should be have every aspect of the social today. So the report is so long. From the army, education, and blah blah blah. So the whole aspect.
Yeah. So, Lambin, you want to make sure you have that, So you don't want to just say journal articles. Journal articles sounds like a literature review, right? So this is very much a literature review kind of thing. Books, of course, are secondary data. conference paper, again, there's a secondary data as well. So there should be some kind of a data that is coming from document analysis. You're doing document analysis, which is different from articles, books, conference papers. So journal, books, conference papers is almost like a third level analysis. They have the primary data, and then they have secondary data, right? Secondary analysis, or even tertiary analysis. So now you want to go back to the documents, the reports, the speeches, right? If you want, the idea now, Lanbin, is to make sure you succeed. That's the idea, right? And then after that, you can open up the space of your research. So you can think, okay, how can I make sure that I can design a war that I can win? Remember, we design the war, we win the war, and then start the battle. We don't want to start the battle not knowing whether you're going to win the war or not. Right? That's a bad general will do that. You just motivate, go out, and then you die, people die, everyone dies. You want to, that you win, and you go in. So example, right? Example, I'm giving you some example. You can just focus on speeches, right? Philosophy, the doctrines of Deng Xiaoping based on his speeches, as an example. Or you can say, focus on the I'm not sure it's the 大会 philosophy.
大会报告吗？
大会报 whatever,
Report.
something like that. So the 大会is the Communist Party alone, or all the parties? All the parties, right? All the parties are all the 9 parties, right?
All the parties will.
The 9 parties, I understand. 9, 7?
5 years. 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Have a bigger meeting.
Yes. And then that part you can manage, Lambi, right? So you want to zoom into the data and be able to, talk about it. I know you have a bigger mission. I know you have a bigger mission. That is good to have the bigger mission. As scholars, we have a bigger mission, bigger, purpose and all that. I want to do that. As I told you before, and for you all, last time I have a student coming in, they will come up with a solution to Middle East peace. I said, are you crazy? Middle East peace. Israel and Palestine alone is not alone. You cannot find solution. We have Israel, Saudi, Iran versus Saudi, Iran versus Iraq versus how to find a peace solution for that. So eventually he, zoomed down and then he focused on something much more manageable, right? Although he was interested on Middle East peace, right? Iraq alone, you listen to Muhtadi, so complex, right? Middle East peace. And I think as scholars we want to have that ambition and aspiration to go big, right, rather than to go small. I do not want to demotivate you to go small. We should not go small. We should live to the greatest height that we have the potential for. That said, for PhD you want to manage it in a way that you can succeed. So that's another part, right? So the point that I want to note, I need maybe make some notes here. Example, right? Example, Deng Xiaoping speeches, or what do you call that big assembly? 大会. That's the word they use, yeah? It's a 大会.
The national.
大会. Maybe you can use the Chinese word, it's fine. You can use the Chinese word. because like the Israel use Knesset, right? France, they use their own French word, So Chinese maintain the 大会 word, which is another.
The National People's Congress.
Yeah, because the word 会 itself has meaning, right?
NPC.
What does 会mean?
大会
会
big meeting.
I know 大 is big, but 会 is
meeting.
Meeting. Representative meeting.
Eh? Representative.
Representative meeting.
But now you're studying philosophy, right? You're looking at philosophy. So you can look at the philosophy of Hui in China, right?
没办法解读这个。
Right? And that will be because you're looking at philosophy now. That the whole thing is about philosophy, right? So in China, in China, a lot of people have from outside. I know sometimes from inside has the perception that it's communist dominated, it's one party and all that. But the Hui is also 会那个有一个人okay, right. Is it the same word as 回家？
Oh, no.
不同 okay.
Can on can't.
Huh?
Hui.
Can.
Can 会 can 我会做我不会
the same-
会不会的会
the same vocabulary.
The same, okay. So you have some interpretation on that one, right? So in the Chinese philosophy of public management, like in a province or a city, if the head is 100, the second one is a minority. Am I right?
汉族 The second one.
So the number one person is 100.
Uh-huh.
The second
蒙古族。
then some from other minority, no?
No.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
If and this is from what's this? Kai Lai told me, right? So if in Tujiaran, in that area, the province is belong to one particular minority group, right? So if you have the number one is 100, and the second one
Really?
is
You mean
unspoken understanding.
You mean the dean of one province? If the
Yeah, so like the dean, the deputy dean is somebody. No, yeah, I'm not
就
sure.
是他说这个老大是汉人的话，老二就得是少数民族吗？没有这样的，
没有这样的。
没有这样。
Not necessarily. Okay. Alright. Okay. Then. This is what Kai Lai was telling me. Kai Lai was telling me
黑的
that.
壮，
Huh?
黑的壮。
What he's saying is that in China you have the philosophy of making sure it's inclusive. You do not want to exclude the minority, right?
We have the representatives from the.
From all, because the Tahui will have representative from
they
all.
wear their
They will put on their traditional,
yeah.
right. So
Looks like it's very not looks like. That's
Yeah.
true, harmonious.
harmonious, and then you have representative from the farmers,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the farmers. You have representative from the factory workers, from the miners, the mining association, right? So as much as possible, you want to be inclusive. It's part of the Chinese philosophy of public management, right? I'm not an expert, but I'm just interpreting from outside, right? So I'm just looking at all this. So now you can argue that it's just symbolic, right? It's not real. It's just symbolic, but or it's just at this level, but at the inner level, it's not, because the inner circle is actually the Politburo of Communist Party, right? They decide everything. You can make those arguments, fine. But I'm saying now at the philosophical side, right? The philosophy. The Chinese has a philosophy so you want to capture that philosophy, right? And you, as you compare the Chinese philosophy, right? Remember also there's the Chinese philosophy and there's the leader's philosophy, right? Which might be different, or the establishment philosophy, right? Because this is where your research is about government asymmetrical power, right? Which is I need to go to the research question. Research question. There. Thank you. See, question number I don't understand. So late. So where we are there. 3.3, right? There. All right. The asymmetrical relation between government and non-government, right? So the idea of the leaders, right? So the leaders representing the government or the establishment, but there's also the cultural aspect, which is part of your research, right? So there's a Chinese cultural philosophy of public management too, which you can put in. This is where you can have the whole 1,000, 2,000 years of philosophy. That's fine, right? Then you can talk about there's a Deng Xiaoping idea. There's also the cultural idea of public management, right? Of what the harmony or whatever. So the much more indigenous wisdom, local knowledge of the Chinese, and it might be consistent, it might not be consistent, might be the same, might not be the same, right? So maybe what is it? Now they're championing Confucianism as a philosophy in Chinese society, right? But is the establishment philosophy consistent with communism or not? Right? That's another one. By the way, Chinese what is it? Foreign policy has a four dimension to it, right? So one is the BRI, which is what Samer is studying. The other one is economic. Another one is has to do with ideology. So it's a new one. It's a culture and a new one. This is quite recent, by the way. It's just 1 or 2 years. Also global thing. So there's a philosophy now, of global cultural philosophy of China. So I'm of the view that China is not just a country with just plans, but it has philosophy and it has strong philosophical foundations. So you want to talk about the only thing is that when you design your research, you want to design it in a way that you can manage it, right? So those are the points I want to share with you. But the issue I have is with question number 2, where you need to think about the Western public management philosophy. That sounds like another research to me, because the Western public philosophy has multiple roots too. There's an American philosophy. There's so many. There's the Scandinavian philosophy, which is quite different from the British, and then even if we take Europe, like the Scandinavian model, they call it the Scandinavian model. The Finland, Swedish, Denmark, and Norway, the Scandinavian countries. Right? And then there's the British, and then there's continental being the non outside of the British, the European. And the European is also divided into the East and the West Europe. Yeah? The newly Eastern Europeans are former communist bloc. Now they have entered Europe, not the NATO. So this is Lampin. You will need to think about how you scope your the philosophy, your scope, your research. Question number 2, the Western. Which Western philosophy or Western space are you looking at, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So like who wrote that book? Yeah, the sociology, the classic sociology book. Isn't that Durkheim? No. Huh? No. Karl Marx. It's a Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism. Weber. Max Weber, right? Max Weber. Now, that's a Western philosophy. Right? But understand there's a Western philosophy that champions Protestantism, right? Not Catholicism. It's Catholic and Protestant, right? It's championing, it's putting forth the Protestant work ethics, right? So it's the spirit of capitalism and the Protestant ethics, right? So that is one philosophy. So Lampin, you want to think about what scope of Western philosophy you want to look at. right? You can also talk about the neoliberalism or neoconservatism, or you know, what what type of Western philosophy. No, and of course the the American public management, it tend to be much more capitalistic compared to the British. British is much more social welfare. Compared to Scandinavian, it's much more socialistic. It's much more socialistic. Yeah, they have high taxes and they provide healthcare, right, as a right. Right, US healthcare is not right. Healthcare is a responsibility or a privilege. Right? UK healthcare is a right because they have a welfare system, the NHS, the National Health Services. So there's different philosophy of public management too in a Western country, and ranging from capitalist to welfare to socialist, and not communist but socialist. But the socialist, Scandinavian system come close to the to China to some extent. So, Lambi, you have a lot to think about that, right? And eventually, another way to think about this is to think about your data, like what I'm telling you just now. Are you analyzing Deng Xiaoping's speeches? Are you analyzing the Tahui philosophy of public management? You can look at that. There's another way to look at it. Just from the Tahui philosophy of public management. That's another way. So you can look just at the reports, right? The reports from there, and you can analyze the reports, right? Maybe no one has done that before. Maybe I don't know. Right?
We will have so many analyses about the report once after the meeting.
Well, yeah. Post meeting analysis review.
So many.
Yeah. But China is a big country. It's not a small country, and it's a planned country. It's a planned economy, right? Unlike India, to some extent, unlike Indonesia too, right? It's a very strong government country, but there's perception from outside. From the inside, maybe the government is not as strong, right? So there's, but the planning is much more systematic than a lot of countries. So if you look, what you see is the Chinese tradition has actually extended beyond China. Taiwan is a very strong plans, national plans, right? Singapore has very strong national plans, right? So it's almost like a Chinese tradition too, planning. When it comes to government, right? So like Malaysia, no, the first when we get our independence, we were laissez-faire economy, like free capitalist, anything goes. But eventually, we become much more planned. So we tend to be much more like a planned economy and all that. So, Lambin, you want to improve your research and your communication, but I'm glad that you've made your presentation today, right? What was it? No, at least any action is actually a progress rather than inaction. The concern I have most with PhD or master's studies is suddenly they go quiet. I don't know what happened to them. For 6 months, no news. Oh, that's bad. But it's better to say that I have this issue, I have this problem, I have this challenge. Let's face it together. And I told this to all of you, right? If you stay with me, you stay committed to your research. I will stay committed to until you complete your research, until you complete your studies, until you get your PhD, until you get your master's. So I will stay committed as well to make sure. And sometimes the students drop out. I will go and get the students, right? I have a few students are like that. Yeah. They have given up. They basically given up, right? eventually we go and say, come, make your final revision, submit, go for the grace period, right? So we have a number of them who have done that, and some are Malaysians too.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Bro. I'm wondering about the then as the member of CPC, 蓝斌你也是党员对吧？蓝斌 is the member of CPC.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Then to Lan Bin, only what he can do is just make a comparison. Then what's the meaning of the study? Just a comparison, and even you know the difference or similarity with then. Because China now we insist on that the social with Chinese characteristics. So even you found the advantages about the Western or not, then we insist on to do ourselves. Lamping could not give any pieces. Once you have the opposite opinion, it looks like you are
Critical
argue or justify to the
authority.
government, to the presidency. Then what's the meaning of the research?
I'm okay. I don't have to go back to China. You have to go back to China.
Then just to make the comparison. then what's the next step?
Yeah. Well, this is it's an academic paper, right? I think.
But it's your idea.
This is your idea.
So, from this research, from the paper, I can know that you have different idea to the
Yes.
CPC.
Yeah.
Then, now you are the member.
Don't tell people, okay?
So, honey, have you recording? Yeah.
Streaming this to YouTube.
Oops.
Oh God, Rambil,
Now,
you better find a house here or somewhere in Penang.
Why I don't say nothing because honey is video now.
Okay. Oh, then tell us ahead of time. Then we don't have to do this. But we are doing this for you
so
know.
I don't know the meaning of this research.
Well, the meaning is we are not
Why you do this research?
we can always do a research. We can always carry out
What's
research.
your contribution?
Well, the contribution is intellectual, not necessarily. I mean, how many of our work is being read by people out there? Very few, right? Yeah, my old dean who said passed away, the dean from social sciences, he said, we lecturers and professors, we have the exaggerated sense of self-importance. You think that we are so powerful, very influential. No one reads your thesis, okay? Your journal, about 5 people read your journal, your own student, somebody, the reviewer of the journal, the editor, and maybe some lost soul suddenly found the journal and read your journal. It's true because and he was talking about Malaysians. Sometimes Malaysian think, we don't say things afterwards, against the government. The government are not scared of lecturers. Government are scared of people who mobilize society. We don't mobilize society, right? We can't even mobilize our students. Tell our students to do assignment, they don't even do the assignment. Don't talk about society, right? So our dean was saying, they don't think about you're so good, you're so great. No. Right? We think so. No. But if you go into politics, the different matter. Then government be interested in you. Yeah. If you're in your classroom, hypothesizing, philosophizing, half of your students don't even understand you. The other half is sleeping. Government doesn't really care in Malaysia. Now I don't know in China. In Malaysia,
Here is
the government is not so alert.
the member of CPC.
They go eat
should-
nasi kandar, they go sleep.
the member of the CPC should insist the rule. You should support President Xi. Yeah. This is the rule to the member. You must do
okay.
that.
You must.
Yeah, you must.他在讨论 Then you talk about the advantage of Western. Then what's your What are you thinking about? Why you
But he's not talking
analyze the
advantage.
advantage?
He's looking at the strengths and weaknesses, right? Comparing the strengths and weaknesses.
What is it?
Right? Comparing, right? Strengths and weaknesses. There's nothing wrong comparing strengths and weaknesses.
Because I think in the end he also mentioned about the convergent points.
The convergence points as well. Yeah, which is
So it's conversion.
yeah. So you're finding point where they do not conflict, point that it can be practical, can get synchronized, harmonized. So you can make that line of argument. It's fine, right? So we are, we're not starting a revolution. We're starting, how do we improve by incorporating things that are aligned with us, right? So that's a good one, the points of convergence. Right? So you're not actually fighting. You find the common, in the word of John Rawls, which is a famous philosopher, right? What is it? Overlapping consensus. The overlapping consensus is a philosophical term. Overlapping. John Rawls, one of the most influential philosophers, modern philosopher. I think in 1976. After that, he's the one, if not the most influential, John Rawls. Also, ethicist. He's an author, ethicist. Overlapping consensus. So we might be disagree on many things, but there are certain things we agree on. So let's work on those things we agree on. Yeah? So that can be the convergence point. So we can use another word for, I think it's called overlapping consensus. That's the term they use in philosophy. Right? So we overlap in that consensus. So yeah. So that's my input for you, Lambin. It is a research that can be tailored, streamlined. This is huge research. It's just streamline it, make it right, right sizing it, making it into the right size, so it can be carried out. The other part that is much more fundamental, which is your communication. Yeah? So we talk about PhD journey. It's not just what you get at the end of the journey; it's what you become at the end of the journey. That is even more important, right? What you get is, the PhD, the scroll, the title, but you have become a better scholar, a better researcher, a better thinker, a better intellectual. That's actually more important, right? So if this journey takes you to a place that you become much more proficient in English, then you must do so. At least not necessarily as a native speaker. I'm not a native speaker, so none of us is a native speaker. But a level that you can get through your PhD, because that is my job, to make sure you get through and you succeed in your PhD. Right? That is my commitment. You stay with us, stay with me, stay with your research. It's a commitment I give you to it as well, to make sure you succeed in that. Certain things I can help with the certain strategies, but certain things has to do with fundamental foundation, right? So that part is nothing that we can do. It's no magic that we can do. Certain things we can do magic. This one we cannot handle it. Okay, you have some question or comments, or anyone else want to say anything?
Yeah, maybe it will be interesting if you. I want to know, is there dynasty in dynasty of the management?
Oh yeah, China
Doesn't dynasty like Indonesia?
No, but when John is talking about dynasty, is that the father is the premier and then the son is the premier.
No.
China doesn't do that.
Ah, good for you.
Interesting, right? For communist country, you don't do that, right?
Yeah.
For our country, we do that. Malaysia does that. Right?
Asian value.
Asian values. Family values. Yeah. China doesn't do that, which is good. Right?
We
Okay.
used to do that in the
Old days.
Old days.
Well, hence the word dynasty. That's the word dynasty. All the son and the children, right? So Lampi, what does this mean?
致敬，
Salute.
致敬。
这是毛泽东的
啊
是 people above me, right? Am I right?
你在我心中。
是毛泽东的
哦，就毛泽东不老这样吗？
人民是people above me, right? That's what I understand. I don't know. Is it?
哦，我们也。
I mean, this is communist kind of thing. You should know.
We don't have the explanation of this posture.
This is what.
Yeah, what's the meaning of this posture?
Not this one. This one. So this is Mao Zedong. This. People
啥
above
解释
me.
呀？It's just for the flag.
I just want to see.
When the flag is hanging on
The pole.
the ground or somewhere, the young people, the young generations is like the primary school students. They will do this.
They will do this.
As for respect to the soldiers that died in the
war.
wars. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The members of the young pioneers. Only the young pioneers should.
Only young pioneers to do this. Others will not do this.
Others will do this.
是小时候学过。
Only the primary school students.
Okay. But they are different way. The Hitler is like this. High Hitler. High Hitler. Right. Saddam Hussein. Yeah. Saddam Hussein.
Indonesia.
Indonesia ini siap komandan. Malaysia apa? Malaysia like this, Malaysia like this, I guess. I'm not sure Malaysia has any sign, Especially should from Indonesia, should have some sign. Okay, Lambi, you have something you want to comment or ask,
What if he removes the Western?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
是不是？
Yeah. 中国已经够了，西方的这个
头大。
太多、太大、太多，太复杂。
会啊，可以。
你把西方不要啦。
中国本身已经很大了，你们
那我的题目是不是得改？
Then how to make
It
the
doesn't have comparative study anymore. China.
你不用比较，你就 you can compare the philosophy and the modern.
Yeah, you can do you can study the philosophy itself.
你可以就直接。
And you can still critique it, and you should not just you should critique it because we are social science, right? So without and I'm concerned when there's no critique, right? When some of my students they believe in what they're studying, right? So like last time Muzakir was studying about Muhammadiyah. He's a member of the Muhammadiyah organization. I told him, he cannot be studying to praise it. Because we are social science, we need to offer some constructive criticism as well. So that is actually important thing. So which he did. So if someone in China asks you, why is it critical? Because in Malaysia the social science is critical.
那我题目改成什么呢？
你要改哲学呗。
So, what's your title again? Let's look at your title.
Title.
I think he also can do some research about Confucianism and
Interpreting public. So remove the word comparative. Analysis of contemporary Chinese public management philosophies. Analysis of contemporary Chinese public management philosophies.
An analysis of Chinese.
An analysis, yeah. You
An
even use
analysis of contemporary Chinese public management philosophies.
yeah. Like the word analysis is not. It's been redundant okay. So contemporary Chinese public management philosophies under Deng Xiaoping or under the Hui whatever or the Communist Party. Whatever. It's okay. I don't buy the Western narrative, by the way. So, in fact, when during the Chinese Revolution, before Cultural Revolution, actually, right? China was doing a lot of social innovation on public management. They have a kind of community courts, right? The problems they solve at the community level, their communes, the whole idea of social responsibility, because it's a revolution for the people, right? I'm talking like a communist guy nowadays, right? It's a revolution for the people, right? So there's a philosophy, there's a, you know, so and oftentimes in a revolution of that sort, right? The beginning period is idealistic. Yeah, there's a lot of idealism in the beginning period. It's in the later period when people have power and then they want to perpetuate power, maintain the power, and that's where it becomes problematic, right? Yeah. So when they want to, Joanna, when they want to create dynasty, that's when it becomes problematic.
Maybe communists more resistant.
Yeah.
More resistant about this.
More resistant, yeah.
Democratic is very
Yeah,
dangerous.
in some ways, yeah. Yeah, we can go Donald Trump way, right? Yeah. Although I do think that Donald Trump would be a better president than the other one. Good. Okay, Lambin. So that can be the main, and you can think about sub thing, right? What your data is the sub thing. You know, the data can be speeches or Xi Jinping or even if you want to compare between two periods, the Xi Jinping and Deng Xiaoping or Deng Xiaoping and Mao Zedong, you can do that, or Deng Xiaoping and Qin Shi Huang. You go further, long time ago. Or which dynasty do you look up to usually? Or Ming Chao, Song Chao? The Tang Chao. These are the Chinese dynasty that has been is respected. Is that right? Tang Chao, Ming
唐
Chao.
宋元明清，
啊
唐朝、宋朝、
元
元朝、明朝、清朝、
元朝、
元朝、明朝、
元朝、明朝、
清朝。
清朝。
If besides 明朝 or 唐朝, and no contemporary.
No contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no contemporary. You're right. You're right.
Modern.
Modern, yeah. So it's comparative between modern and traditional. You can do that.
Chinese modern, 1978 before.
Before that, yeah.
Before modern.
Yeah.
之后咋是？
No, before is after. I mean, 之后 after.
Before modern, after 1978, after
Contemporary. Okay, you say contemporary. Right.
yeah, history 一个节点。
Historical period. Yeah.
对的 because history, Chinese history, 是有一个什么政治的变革呀，什么改革的开放啊，或是什么样才算一个节点，
Alright.
算当代或者是现代。从历史上的，
Yeah.
我看了很多历史的 book, how history.
Yeah. Historical books. Yeah.
对。
That's how Chinese history has been divided that way, right?
And
Yeah.
before that year, we are the planned economy. We do not the marketing economy.
Not market economy.
Yeah,
Right?
after this year, we open our national door and then in the marketing
Market
economy,
economy.
then we have the rapid. Yeah.
比如说鸦片战争属于近现代史，
不属于当代史吗？
不属于是近现代。
当代史是属于什么时候？
1978年之后，
改革开放之后，
近现代史怎么说？
是现在。
近现代史鸦片。
modern
Opium war.
history and
So when you say modern, is
鸦片战争。
modern in the history perspective. Modern is not 20th century is modern. Before that is modern. Before that, but
近现代史。
But you know, we can follow the Chinese way of categorizing the historical periods. It's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
孙中山 history 近现代史。
近现代是 OK.
还有戊戌变法。
这些都是中国的名称，你这
英文怎么说呀？无
那
需变法。
你说了也不懂啊，这是中国的叫法，鸦片战争都是中国的叫法，
100 days perform 叫戊戌变法。
这人家听不懂。
100 days war.
戊戌
It's a reform. It's
Oh, 100 days reform.
yeah.
Okay.
对，无需变法。
That's under Deng Xiaoping.
in the Qing dynasty.
That's it.
邓小平 is modern，不，is
Contemporary.
对对对对呀。
Reform and opening is a lie for the modern history and contemporary.
英文
It's a
叫
lie.
under days。
The reform and opening.
Okay, okay.
就是在整个世界上的这种
I think
Like if they want to remain their like Chinese name of categorizing, I think it would be better for them to just put it as phonetics, like 戊戌变法 like that, instead of translating it. Because if we translate it, maybe the examiner they don't really understand what we're doing.
yeah, you could do that. You could
And
do
then
that.
you can make a footnote.
Footnote it, yeah. Yeah, we need to. You can have a short discussion of that too in your background or on your literature review too. You could do that. Okay, guys, we should call it a day, so to say. Right? This week has been a packed week for me. So let me see. Maybe next week, Chi Min can do your presentation. By the way, there's a Viva session on the what day? Marian, not my student, but you all can attend.
Online or offline?
Offline, I think offline.
The students follow CPR or
CPR? Marian. From where? From Africa? From Arab? Marian.
We didn't see her.
I was her assessor last time, and I'm also the internal examiner.
Master or PhD?
Master or PhD, yeah? PhD, yeah, PhD.
Maybe not in CPR, not in study room. We don't know.
Oh, she doesn't come here.
Yeah.
On the 14th of August, which is next week, Wednesday.
14th of August.
14 August.
Yeah,
Next week. Next Wednesday.
that's next Wednesday, 2:30. Eh? Hold on. No, sorry. 9:30 morning.
9:30.
Yeah. Marian Viva.
Bye here.
We will probably be here. See, online we can be anywhere, but I plan to be here. But
Where's Marine? Here or online?
I think she will be doing online. I think. I don't know. Yeah. It's better to be here. Last time we were here to see Mutadis, right?
Professor, can I make a presentation next week?
You could arrange that. I think you at first Jim and you too, right? Jim and you too. But Jimin also. Maybe you, together with Jimin you could present. We will schedule a date next week, right? So be ready next week. Yeah. But then Samir is also here, but he's in KL. He's coming over. Samir. Mutadi is like everywhere. Are we recording?
I saw him last time with a very beautiful girl.
Yes!
Yes, Germany
Yes!
girl.
A Syrian girl. Oh, Germany? So it's a different girl.
Shelia, Germany and Shelia.
Oh, Germany
It's
is
a mix.
Syrian. Oh.
Very beautiful.
New one. Not the one who you know.
The same?
Well, I think the last time last time, right? My first Chinese student, she has a lot of boyfriends. Chinese is from China, Chinese students. Like, turn this off, turn this off. She has a lot of boyfriends. To the point of one of my students, my students came, she's from Africa. He said, "Prof, you got to do